But, ladies and gentlemen, with the rousing patriotism of, what's his name? Patric Henry, Miss Mellisa Dow.
In the spring of 1775, with Boston Harbor under royal blockade and British troops occupying the colonies, the Second Virginia Convention proposed raising the militia. Patric Henry was in favor of the motion, but some in the audience thought that more diplomacy would be an appropriate course of action. Henry, incensed and infuriated, rose and delivered his now famous speech of March 23, 1775. No man, Mr. President, thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism as well as the abilities of the very honorable gentlemen who have just addressed this House. However, different men often see the same subject in different lights, and therefore I hope it will not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as I do, opinions of a character very opposite to theirs, I should speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before this House is one of awful moment to this country. For my own part, I consider it nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery, and in proportion to the magnitude of the subject, ought to be the freedom of the debate. It is only in this way that we can hope to arrive at truth and fulfill that great responsibility which we hold to God and our country. Were I to keep back my opinions at such a time, through fear of giving offense, I should consider myself as guilty of treason towards my country and an act of disloyalty towards the majesty of heaven, which I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it is natural to man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against the painful truth and listen to the song of that siren until she has transformed us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men, engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be of that number who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, the things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? For my own part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way of judging the future but by the past. And judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years to justify those hopes with which gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves and this House. Is it that insidious smile with which our petition has been so lately received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with those warlike preparations that cover our waters and darken our lands. Are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must now be called in to win back our love? No, sir. Do not deceive yourselves. I ask, gentlemen, what means this martial array if its purpose be not to force us to submission? Can gentlemen assign any other possible motive for it? No, they cannot. They have no other purpose. They are sent over to bind and rivet upon us those chains which the British ministry have been so long forging. And what have we to oppose them? Oh, shall we try argument? We have been trying that for the last 10 years. Have we anything new to offer on the subject? Nothing. We have held that subject up in every light of which it has been capable, but it has been all in vain. Shall we then resort to entreaties and humble supplications? What terms shall we find which have not been already exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves longer. We have done everything which could have been possible to avert that storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, we have supplicated, we have prostrated ourselves before the throne, imploring its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the ministry and parliament. But our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, and we have been spurned with contempt from the very foot of the throne. In vain, after these things, may we indulge their fond hope of peace and reconciliation. There is no longer any room for hope. If we mean to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon that noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon till that glorious object of our contest be obtained, we must fight! I will repeat that, sir. We must fight! An appeal to arms and to the God of hosts is all that is left us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be next week or next year? Will it be when we're completely disarmed? And when a British guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Will we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging that delusive phantom of hope till our enemies have us bound, hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak if we make a proper use of those means which the God of nature hath placed in our power. 3 millions of people, armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess, are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations, and he will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle is not to the strong alone, but to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire that, it is now too late to retire from the contest. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I will repeat that, sir. Let it come! It is in vain, sir, to extenuate this matter. Those gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here, idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? Oh, what would they have? Is life so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Oh, forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty, or give me